After realizing I was the villainous stepmom in a redemption novel, I lied to the male lead and told him I was his destined soulmate. The innocent boy blushed and mumbled, "But you're my stepmom." Twirling the leather whip in my hand, I grinned wickedly. Isn't that what makes it exciting? Then, the real heroine showed up, and I ran for my life that very night. But the sweet, obedient boy suddenly changed. He calmly tied me up with the whip, his eyes full of obsessive affection. "I've been acting so well behaved, so why are you still trying to leave?" "Stepmom?" Jason Smith called out to me in a timid voice. His clear, foxy eyes were brimming with tears. My gaze swept over the cut on his cheek, and I clicked my tongue in annoyance. Instantly, Jason burst into tears. Jason promised this would never happen again. He said it was the other kids who picked a fight first, and he only fought back. I grabbed his chin and forced his face toward the bruise, pressing hard. Jason cried out in pain, and the skin around the area turned red instantly. He blinked his watery eyes pitifully, but bit back the moan, not daring to resist. Watching those glittering tears fall, I felt a thrill. Hurts, doesn't it? If it hurts, then hit back. Why are you letting people beat you up like this? "There were too many of them," Jason said. "Then grab something and fight back." I hefted the baseball bat in my hand, stuffed it into his backpack, and gave him a look of frustration. "Will you be there tomorrow, stepmom? Everyone else has their mom backing them up. A light flickered in Jason's deer-like eyes. He asked cautiously, "Of course I'll be there. No one gets to bully my kid but me. Got it?" Jason nodded and said, "Then I'll go finish my homework." Looking satisfied, he flashed me a sweet smile and pulled out a bubble taro milk tea from his bag. Half sugar, extra pearls me, favorite. His uniform was torn and his bag covered in dust from the fight, but the milk tea, still warm and perfectly intact. I took a sip, feeling a little conflicted. I'm the wicked stepmother in this redemption story. My job is to torment the male lead, Jason, until he turns dark. My plan was to breeze through the plot and get out fast, but the boy turned out to be absurdly obedient. Even when I slapped him, he only worried about whether my hand hurt. I told him not to be picky with food, so he drank milk he was allergic to, then passed out with a fever. And even then, he still asked sweetly, "Stepmom, was I good?" Over the years, I've made him cry countless times, yet he never turned dark. If anything, he got softer. Now he's a 6-foot-tall guy who apologizes the moment I frown. Even when he was being beaten up at school, his first reaction was to worry I'd be mad. And the worst part? Jason looks heartbreakingly beautiful when he cries. A man's tears really are a woman's aphrodisiac. I genuinely loved watching him tear up and cling to me. So I postponed my escape again and again. Rubbing my temples, I took another long sip of milk tea. Good stuff. The next day, I stormed into the principal's office in heels, just as Jason was being chewed out by another kid's parent. What a disgrace! No manners at all. Can't believe he hit someone. A mean-faced woman pointed at Jason and ranted on and on. I pulled him behind me and glared down at her. Right. Your son is so well-behaved, yet somehow he's got a screeching banshee for a mother. Some mothers would be better off deadless embarrassing that way. I smirked, towering in my 3-inch heels. She was stunned for a moment, then screamed, "Who are you calling a banshee?" "You, your son's mom." I shrugged, my smile laced with sarcasm. Just then, a girl nearby quietly chimed in. She had straight bangs, a round face, and big, innocent eyes. "Ma'am, it's not nice to talk like that. You shouldn't insult people." I blinked in disbelief. Didn't you hear her being unreasonable first? And did you just call me, ma'am? I'm only 3 years older than Jason, and I take skincare very seriously. There's no way anyone can tell our age gap. I was just asking a normal question, but she acted like I'd slapped her. She kept accusing me while sneaking glances at Jason. Jason never used to fight. Clearly, someone like you corrupted him. Jason frowned and stepped protectively in front of me. My stepmom is amazing. You have no right to judge her. Apologize to her, now. Jason. The girl seemed stunned, her voice trembling. Tomb, sorry. She turned red and ran off tearfully, shooting me one last pitiful glare. Enough, enough. Jason's mom. The principal interjected, trying to ease the tension. Regardless, hitting someone is still wrong. Exactly. He should be expelled. And you'll pay double the medical fees. My poor son is still in the hospital. If anything happens to him, I swear I'll die too. The woman cried, putting on quite a show. I scoffed at her terrible acting and pulled Jason down to kneel beside me. Principal, you know our situation. Jason lost his mom young, and his dad passed away not long after I married in. It's just the two of us trying to survive. If you expel him now, I'm afraid he won't be able to take it. He's always been such a gentle boy, he can't even kill an ant. Why would he ever hit someone unprovoked? There's definitely more to this. Moral blackmail? Please, I'm the villainess you want to play dirty. I invented it. The principal looked shaken, casting a guilty glance at Jason. Jason, I'll give you one more chance. Tell us everything. If there's a reason, I'll consider a lighter punishment. I tugged his sleeve anxiously, but he just stared at the floor in silence. See? He's not saying anything. Guilty, obviously. The woman pounced on the moment, relentless. Jason trembled all over, fingers clenched white on the edge of the desk. My heart ached. I shot her a glare sharp as a knife. Shut it. Principal, I want the security footage pulled. Jason wouldn't stay silent for no reason. When the footage came up, the woman's face went pale. Her son was on camera, surrounding Jason with a gang of punks. Well, if it isn't the little orphan. Running errands again, huh? Getting threatened every day. How's that working out for ya? Tell you hook me up with that hot stepmom of yours, and I'll make sure no one messes with you. I tilted my chin and stared coldly at the principal. Seems pretty clear who started it, and the kind of trash they are. The principal wiped the sweat off his brow and forced a smile. Seems like we owe Jason an apology. I turned to the woman, each word sharp as a blade. Jason may have lost his parents, but the Smiths have plenty of money. Expect a letter from my lawyer. I'll be hiring the best. Jason looked at me with increasing dependence, his eyes filled with a longing I couldn't quite decipher. In the car, I grabbed his chin and forced him to look up. Why didn't you tell the truth? I was afraid it'd ruin your reputation. Stepmom, please don't be mad at me. He rubbed his head against my palm like a loyal puppy, trying to please me. Honestly, it made me want to mess him up all over again. I sighed, my heart softened. After all, he got into that fight because he was worried about me. More than anything, I felt shocked. I'd done everything I could to torment him by the book, and yet, time after time, he stood up for me. Stepmom, so you really believed in me all along? You've always been good. Of course I did. I'll always be this good. I promise. A soft smile spread across his lips, and his eyes sparkled like a child receiving candy. Jason hooked his pinky with mine and whispered, Stepmom, can you yell at me like that again next time? What? I blinked at him, stunned. You know, the way you looked at me today, like I was trash. I froze for a second. It felt like I'd just glimpsed a part of Jason he never let anyone see. Flashes of a certain memory rushed through my mind. Once, when he messed up, I took out the discipline ruler and gave him a solid beating. I thought he'd break down from the pain, but he didn't say a word, just blushed. I couldn't help but laugh. A wicked little thought surfaced. He really likes his stepmom, huh? Even enjoys being scolded. But someday you'll fall in love, get married. Once you have a girlfriend, you'll forget all about me. No, I won't. He blurted out in a panic. I like you best, stepmom. He pouted, clearly upset. Suddenly, Jason's ears turned crimson. The meaning of his words seemed to shift. I raised the divider in the car and climbed onto his lap. The innocent boy stiffened completely, his face red enough to bleed. Biting my lip, I traced my fingers over the Adam's apple bobbing in his throat. Then show me. Just how much do you like your stepmom? Jason stared at me, breath growing faster and shallower. His normally clear eyes were now clouded, like a still lake rippled by a stone. I inched closer, slowly undoing a button on his shirt. Jason, be good. Tell me. He opened his mouth to speak when suddenly, someone knocked on the car window. Hey, is anyone in there? Jason, I found your bat. The windows were tinted, so she couldn't see us. But I could see her clearly. It was that same girl from the office, the one who said I was a terrible guardian. Her again. We'd only met once, but she already looked at me like I was her sworn enemy. The sultry air between us shattered instantly. My interest in teasing Jason vanished. A flicker of disappointment crossed his eyes, and his voice turned flat. She's just a crazy classmate. Don't mind her, stepmom. Crazy? Yeah. She keeps calling herself the heroine or something, and she won't stop clinging to me, even though I've turned her down again and again. My breath caught. A crazy thought crept into my mind. What's her name? Isabel Lopez. It felt like lightning struck out of nowhere. I froze. Isabel, she was the real heroine of this world. Jason took the bat from her and muttered a thank you, but his gaze toward her was ice cold. Where'd you find it? And how did you know it was mine? Isabel's bashful look faltered. Her voice turned uncertain. On the playground. I saw you carrying it out of class before. Right, thanks. Clearly Jason didn't want to interact any further. He turned and got back in the car. My thoughts were in chaos. According to the plot, Jason was supposed to be naturally drawn to the sunny, upbeat heroine. They were meant to grow closer the more they met. But now, Jason clearly found Isabel annoying. Noticing his cold attitude, Isabel's expression changed. She suddenly grabbed my sleeve. Jennifer Delaney, we need to talk. The sweetness in her voice vanished, replaced with venom. My heart skipped. She'd awakened too, hadn't she? I told the driver to take Jason home first, then followed Isabel to a cafe near the school. The moment we sat down, she snapped. Jennifer, I'm the real heroine. You need to stop confusing your role and trying to steal Jason. I chuckled, taking a slow sip of coffee. When did I ever try to steal him? Cut the act. Jason's supposed to hate you, but instead he defends you like crazy. I've followed the plot to a T, but for some reason, Jason hasn't turned dark, and he still doesn't hate you. That's because you ruined him. Isabel's voice rose. He's gone completely off script. This is all your fault. She slammed her phone on the table, playing a video. On screen, Jason was taking on 5 guys at once, smashing them to the ground with his bat, the same punks who had talked trash about me. He didn't hold back. Fast and vicious, he tore through them like a storm. When it was over, he grabbed one of their knives and deliberately cut himself, calm as ever. I was too stunned to speak. So, he wasn't outnumbered. He let himself get beaten up on purpose. You see now? Isabel said coldly. Jason only pretends to be pitiful around you. Behind your back, he's terrifying. Why would he do that? In the original story, Jason was damaged and insecure from an abusive childhood. He found healing through the sunny, kind-hearted heroine. But the book never said anything about him being this violent or this deceptive. Why else? Isabel sneered. He's lulling you into a false sense of security so he can get revenge. Do you really think a villainess like you deserves his gratitude? Jason's turning dark even faster than the novel said. I had to jump in early to save him. You need to leave. Stop messing up the plot. And for your own safety, too, she added, handing me a plane ticket with a fake smile. You saw what he's capable of. Who knows what he'll do to you next? Cold sweat trickled down my spine. My thoughts were a mess. Which version of Jason was real? Had he been pretending all along, waiting for a chance to strike back? Makes sense. He's the male lead. I'm just the villainess. We're fated to be enemies. That's the only explanation that makes sense now. I remembered the times I told Jason bedtime stories only. I'd been reciting the plot to him like it was just a tale. I even went so far as to brainwash him, telling him I was his fated heroine. Back then, Jason looked like a startled fawn, whispering, "But you're my stepmom." And I had lifted his chin with a whip and smirked. Isn't that what makes it even more thrilling? Thinking back, I couldn't help but shiver. I really had crossed every line there was. I took the plane ticket and headed straight for the airport, a heavy dread gnawing at me the whole way. If only I had reined in my twisted sense of fun. Now look what happened. Jason had gone from emotionally unstable to full-blown psychotic. The gentle, sheepish boy I knew versus the cold, self-harming one in the video. The images kept flashing through my head. I rubbed my temples, spooked to the core. After landing, I stepped into a restroom, hoping to calm down with some cold water. But just as I opened the door, someone clamped a hand over my mouth and everything went black. When I came to, I was in a hotel room, limbs tied, completely immobilized. The fear of the unknown was paralyzing. I forced myself to breathe slowly to keep from breaking down. Well, you're awake, someone said. I didn't know how much time had passed when the door opened. Isabel walked in carrying a black paper bag, her smile razor sharp. You kidnapped me? I stared at her in confusion, struggling instinctively. Sure did. Why? Jennifer, drop the act. You know exactly what you've done. I already agreed to leave Jason, so why go this far? After Jason's emotional arc deviated from the plot, I had hired someone to investigate you. Isabel sneered, shaking a vial of liquid in her hand before finally meeting my eyes. Jennifer, don't tell me you don't know. Jason's obsession with you isn't anything close to familial. That's impossible, I said. I just liked teasing him. It was all a joke. Jason always knew that and hated when I did it. Isabel pulled out a syringe and slowly approached. You really don't know? You were the one who shaped him like this, made him dependent on you, addicted to you. You molded him into your own reflection so he'd never leave. Admit it. You were going to use Jason to eliminate me and become the new heroine. Too bad I caught on. And now, I can't let you live. I backed away, trembling. My hands and feet were ice cold. I don't know what delusion you're in, but I've never had romantic feelings for Jason. But if you die, he'll never love you anyway, Isabel said, gripping my throat with glee. You're a problem that has to go. As long as you live, Jason won't love me entirely. But don't worry, I'm not stupid. I'll keep acting sweet and innocent so I can win him over. You, a wicked stepmom, died from an overdose while hooking up with some random guy. Sounds believable, right? Jason will never look at you the same again. And I'll be there to comfort him when he's at his lowest. So that was her plan to stage my death in bed. A perfect setup. She lunged at me with the syringe, and I squeezed my eyes shut in despair. Bang! The door burst open. Stop! Jason's voice was flat, his expression unreadable. He looked nothing like the violent boy from the video, but that calm, icy tone was even scarier. Maybe it was his overwhelming presence, but Isabel froze mid-motion. Jason, what are you doing here? She stammered, instinctively trying to cover the drugs on the table. If I hadn't shown up, what were you planning to do to my stepmom? Jason gave her a chilling smirk, lifting his chin slightly. Isabel was flustered, fumbling for an excuse, but finding none. "Get out!" Jason's voice was laced with rage and disgust. Isabel, losing control, turned and lunged at me instead. Her mask had shattered, and she knew it. "Jennifer! If I can't be the heroine, then neither can you." I turned my head to dodge on instinct, but some of the drugs still splashed into my eyes. Jason's face darkened, and the mask of gentleness shattered for good. Before Isabel could react, Jason grabbed her by the collar and dragged her out. She screamed, kicked, and fought, but it was no use. Jason's strength far outmatched hers. Soon, she couldn't even beg for mercy. "Jason, I'm your heroine! Let me go!" I didn't even touch her. I swear I didn't hurt her. Her screams grew louder then, stopped cold. My heart plummeted. My lips trembled. My eyes burned as tears streamed down. Jason returned, walking to my bedside without a word. Blood dripped from his pale fingertips onto the carpet. In the eerie silence, Jason suddenly smiled. "Stepmom, I was so good. Why did you still try to leave me?" He grabbed my chin, his fingers pressing against my eyes like he might blind me. I clutched my chest, trying to calm my pounding heart. My voice shook. "I'm just a side character. My role is over. Isn't it normal for me to leave now?" "Side character?" Jason tilted his head. "But you told me you were my heroine." He gripped my ankle and yanked me beneath him. "That was just a joke," I whispered. "A joke?" Jason slowly wrapped the whip around my neck, his eyes filled with deranged affection. "Well then, it's my turn to play." The whip tightened. Jason stared coldly as I gasped, my face flushing, hands weakening on his shirt. Just before I lost consciousness, he grabbed my neck and kissed me. The violence in him exploded. He kissed me with savage hunger, blood flooding my mouth. He looked euphoric. He took me back to his villa and locked me away. I searched the walls but couldn't find a single window. I froze, defeated. There was no way out now. Jason sensed my thoughts and gently touched the collar on my neck, smiling faintly. The collar was made from the very whip I once used to beat him. "Stepmom, do you know why my dad died right after you married him?" My heart skipped. I felt a cold dread rising. "Because if he lived, I couldn't have you all to myself." Jason grinned at my stunned face. "And Isabel?" I asked. "What did you do to her?" "She's alive. Barely." His tone was light, like he was commenting on the weather. Jason was far scarier than I had ever imagined. Then he softened, pulling me into his arms and kissing the corner of my eye. At first, he tried to act like the sweet boy I used to know, hoping I'd show him affection. But after I exposed the act, he gave up the charade. "The doctor said it's just an irritant. Your eyes will recover in a few days." "But stepmom, why can't you see yet?" I don't know. Maybe it just takes time," I muttered, eyes downcast to hide my guilt. The blindness was fake, just a ploy to lower Jason's guard so I could escape. "I'm tired. I think I'll rest early. You should go back to your room." His undisguised possessiveness terrified me. I forced the words out. Only by getting rid of him could I explore the place. Jason smiled slowly, voice sincere. "Stepmom just moved in and probably isn't used to the layout, and you can't see right now. How about I guide you?" If it weren't for that twisted grin at the corners of his mouth, I might have believed he was being kind. "Okay, just walk me to the bathroom," I replied, wary but with no choice. Jason gently laid out a bathrobe for me and handed me the shower head. "Good night, stepmom." He dragged out the words deliberately, the final syllables light as feathers, tickling my nerves. Then he made a show of stepping away and closing the door, only to lean against the frame quietly, staring at me. Caught between panic and strategy, I froze, my brain scrambling for an out. Jason was testing me. Deep breath, steady hands. I started unbuttoning my shirt and stepped toward the shower. At the threshold, I faked a misstep and fell hard to the floor. Pain shot through me. I cried out instinctively, "Help!" Jason raised an eyebrow, his eyes blank. After a long pause, he finally spoke. "Stepmom, are you okay? Mind if I come in?" What a performance. I cursed him 100 ways in my head before gritting out, "I fell. Help me up." Jason's lips curled into a smile. He scooped me up effortlessly, and as he set me down, his warm palm grazed my waist a little too deliberately. "So careless, stepmom." His eyes gleamed with lust. My mind filled with mortifying images. I remembered him whispering my name in his sleep during puberty, moaning softly. I used to think it was just hormones she had no other girls around. But now, it was clear he'd never seen me as a mother figure. That thought made my skin crawl. I pulled my robe tighter under his gaze. "You should go. Don't you have etiquette class tonight?" As the heir of the Smith family, Jason had daily training. At my words, he suddenly chuckled like he remembered something funny. He casually pulled off his t-shirt, revealing perfectly cut abs. "Yeah, I was just getting changed. Can you help me with my tie, stepmom?" He stepped closer, his V-line muscles almost touching me. Even the curve of his neck radiated heat. My arms stiffened. I had no idea where to look. "What's wrong, stepmom? You won't even help me with this?" He pouted, eyes full of false innocence. For a second, he almost looked like the sweet Jason I once knew. Honestly, his acting had gotten really good. I can't really see. I tried to deflect, eyes dodging him. He yanked me into his arms. "So is it that you can't see, or you don't dare to?" His smirk deepened as his hand found my waist and started kneading. He was doing this on purpose. Furious, I punched him in the abs. "What the hell? Why are you so hard? I can't even find the damn tie." "There's something harder. Wanna touch it?" Jason grabbed my wrist, fingers rubbing my bones. "You bastard!" I struggled, but he only pulled me tighter. "Oh? So you're done pretending now?" Jason dropped the lazy act, cold malice seeping from his eyes. My heart stopped. He smiled, but there was no warmth. Then he cuffed me to the headboard and spoke slowly. "Stepmom, remember that stray cat I liked? It was wild. No matter how many times I fed it, it still scratched me. So I came up with a way to make sure it stayed with me forever." "What did you do?" I shivered violently. "I turned it into a taxidermy mount." "Stepmom, I tried so hard to please you for so long. Why do you keep trying to leave?" "Maybe I should make you into a specimen too so you'll finally behave." Jason kissed the artery in my neck, his teeth tracing my pulse. I bit my lip, stifling a sob. All I ever wanted was to make him cry a little. How did it come to this? Jason laughed, clearly enjoying my fear, like a predator toying with a dying prey. Maybe he saw how pathetic I looked. He pulled me into a hug and patted my back gently. He switched personas effortlessly, alternating between menace and tenderness. But to me, his gentle whispers still sounded like demons hissing from hell. "Stepmom, love me, okay?" My tears broke loose. I curled up and nodded. Jason kissed my forehead, satisfied, then fell asleep in my arms. In the dead of night, I slipped a key from his pocket. I crept downstairs and headed straight to the forbidden basement. My gut told me Isabel was there. Dark red liquid seeped from under the door. I knelt, sniffed it, then dabbed some on my finger and brushed it on my lips. Pressed them together. It tasted familiar. Sticky and sweet. The door's reflection showed off my vivid lipstick. No wonder it was my favorite shade. Gorgeous. The door creaked. Isabel stirred. "Please, let me go. I won't do it again. I'm not the heroine. I don't want to be the heroine anymore." Isabel was unrecognizable. Face sunken, skin slashed, and bloody bone visible in places. Clear tubes drained blood from her hands. She was watching herself die. Beside her lay a mummified corpse, hinting at her fate. I gave her a soothing smile and began undoing her bindings. "It's me, Jennifer." Isabel collapsed to the floor, eyes dazed. "You came to save me?" "Yeah." "Jason's insane. I didn't know he'd go this far. Let's run." "I'm sorry I misjudged you. Please take me with you." I smiled faintly. "Oh no. I came to find you, sure, but I never said I'd take you with me." I sat on the surgical bed nearby, swinging my legs like a child, smiling innocently as I toyed with a lighter. I watched the flame flicker in the darkness, casting my face in an eerie, pale glow. Isabel looked like she couldn't comprehend what I'd said. She asked slowly, "Why?" "You guessed right. After I awakened, I've been guiding Jason, turning him into someone like me. I wanted to use him to get rid of you. After all, only the male lead has enough plot power to rival the heroine. But you only got half right. I did try to handle you myself, but your protagonist halo was too strong. No matter how perfect my plans were, you always reappeared. You knew my plan from the start. You let me kidnap and hurt you on purpose." Isabel backed away in panic, but I easily kicked her to the ground. "Exactly. I needed the right moment to provoke Jason. Otherwise, how would he fully embrace his darkness? How would he realize how terrified he is of losing me?" "And you think it was a coincidence you found out all those little details about me and Jason? You only saw what I wanted you to see." "When you lunged at me, it looked like I dodged, but I leaned in on purpose. I've always known Jason had a thing for control. The right amount of injury, it makes him ache, but it excites him too. And the whole escape scene? Just part of the act. People never treasure what they get too easily." "So you've achieved your goal. Jason was ready to kill me for you. Isn't that enough proof of his love?" Isabel trembled, face pale as paper. My heel crushed her fingers. I suddenly thought her screaming would make excellent background music. Such lovely cries, perfect for looping on repeat. Sweat dripped from Isabel's forehead as she gasped, "Why did you use me? Why would you do this? I'm the heroine." "I'm the heroine!" she shrieked. I laughed, crouching to meet her twisted face. "You awakened. So did I. We're on equal ground now. Fair, isn't it? You lured me out, kidnapped me, tried to destroy my reputation, your choices. I never forced you. I couldn't tolerate your existence, true. But you never intended to let me live, either. You were just too stupid. That's not my fault. But are you really okay with this? From heroine to nameless corpse?" "Jennifer, you pushed me. You made me like this." Isabel laughed manically, ignoring her mangled fingers. She grabbed the lighter from my hand and lunged at the gas can in the corner. In an instant, flames erupted, heat exploded outward. The fire licked my skin, searing it raw. I approached Isabel unfazed, wrinkling my nose. Tsk! Burnt. My indifference enraged her. She grabbed an axione of Jason's old toys. Funny how useful they turned out to be. Too bad she missed by an inch. The blade lodged in the wall. My eyes sparkled, and I giggled. Why do they get to be the heroes just by spouting pretty morals? And I'm forced to be the hated villain just to make them shine? With a few strokes of the pen, the author gave me a dark past and used that to justify my cruelty. But for me, it wasn't fiction, it was 20 years of hell. Beaten by my mother, molested by my stepfather, then sold to Jason's dad, 30 years older than Meadow, be his mistress. In the prime of my life, I became a broken plaything. Tell me, how was I supposed to be kind? How was I supposed to forgive? Everyone called me twisted, but no one asked why I became that way. After awakening, I didn't even want revenge. I just wanted a quiet life. But the story kept dragging me back, forcing me to be the villain, to highlight the heroine's virtue. Demeaning one woman just to uplift another? It's the most ridiculous device I've ever seen. So I started wondering, is the heroine really as good as they say? If she's so noble, why does she need my darkness to shine? I watched Isabel in secret. She had a warm family, friends at school, teachers who encouraged her. I felt like a dirty thief staring through a window at a beautiful Barbie doll. Envious, yearning. And then, an idea I couldn't suppress took root. If I'd had her life, I could have helped Jason heal too. But if she lived my life, would she still be so sweet and lovely? Now my grand experiment has reached its end. See, the kind heroine. Not so kind after all. She was willing to do anything to get what she wanted. Jennifer, you're insane! Isabel's hands trembled on the axe handle. I'm not insane. You just got tricked again. I winked playfully. Oh, right, see that dried-up corpse over there. That's my husband. Well, in name only. On our wedding night, he brought his own death. But I made Jason think he did it. I've always been smart. Don't you think I'm more heroine material than you? Isabel's pupils shrank. She stepped back in horror. She finally realized I was the real monster. But it was too late. Jason burst through the flames like he couldn't feel pain, wrenched the axe from Isabel's hands, and raised it to her skull. Are you trying to die? Isabel broke down, pointing at me, screaming hysterically. She tricked you! She tricked all of us! This was her trap. She used me to push you over the edge. I collapsed into Jason's arms, sobbing weakly. Jason, it hurts. Before she could finish another word, he silenced her. Skull cracking, blood splattering. It ended in an instant. I felt my blood boil with thrill, surging with madness. Jason, you really are my greatest creation. But outwardly, I shivered and dropped to the floor. Jason, what are you doing? He threw the axe aside, movement stiff. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to scare you. His eyes brimmed with obsessive panic. He wanted to trap me with violence, but he feared I'd reject the real him. The moment he started hating himself in front of me, he put my importance above his own. And that was exactly what I needed. Stepmom, I'm sorry. Did I scare you? I'm terrified of losing you. Please, don't leave me. I won't do it again. I'll control myself. She's gone. No one can hurt you anymore. Stay with me, please. I lowered my gaze, hiding the manic joy in my eyes, and nodded in feigned terror. My story had finally begun. Jason held his sweet, obedient Jennifer in his arms and smiled. Why is stepmom so cute? If this was what she wanted, he was more than happy to keep playing the part forever.